What is going on, 5-9 gamers? My name is Joe Wags, and today I will be your host for your favorite podcast, the Dokkan Battle Podcast. Our podcast is presented to you by 5-9 Gaming. 5-9 Gaming is your source for all things gaming, anime, and entertainment related. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things 5-9. Today's episode is Dokkan Podcast number 99, Frieza no Metal Brother. I can't do it alone. We've got a great show for you today. You know, this week we're going to take the mentality. We're doing quality over quantity this week. We're down a member today, but I think the three of us can really tag team this thing. I think you're going to love the show anyways. So first up, let me introduce Tech Ultimate Gohan's biggest fan, Minato. How are you doing today?
Yeah, you know, Joe, I'm confident in meeting you, but this third dude, a newbie right there, he's like never on the podcast. It's kind of weird, just lurking in the back, listening to what we say. So we'll see if he could up his conversational skills to keep up with us, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the girlies tell me he's pretty cool because all the girlies say he's pretty fly for Vilify. Vilify, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I think Minato should actually be changed to the All Out Struggle team's biggest fan. I don't know what this Tech Ultimate Gohan nonsense is about.
No, dude, I was just told All Out Struggle is very good. So, you know, maybe I should look into that team and run it all the time. Kaioken Goku.
Might beat the Red Zone.
Oh, yeah. Red Zone killer.
Yeah, we'll see how this podcast goes. Maybe Minato's leader skill will be All Out Struggle if he doesn't do well this week. We'll see. We'll see. So let's start off with some spicy hot takes. This is the new segment we've been trying out. Once again, let us know in the comments if you're liking this hot take segment. Give us your hot takes in the comments and maybe we'll respond to that. So, Minato, I know you probably went into your backload of like 1,000 hot takes. Which one are you pulling out today?
Okay, so I'm going to say this one. I was considering holding it on until we see a larger amount of people, but let's do this right here. So, my hot take. People overvalue how important a team needs is, like slot 1 units are needed right now in the game. Although slot 1 is very, very important for sure. It's probably the most important slot. I think that this year we have been receiving a good amount of slot 1 units. For example, the Wicked Bloodline team has already multiple slot 1 units. You know, Terrifying Conquerors / Movie Bosses has a lot of slot 1 units in there, right? And while I understand people really want slot 1 units, basically, like, it seems like they ask for every single release. Not every unit has to be slot 1 unit. And I think that people really overvalue that, right? So, just my opinion, right? I think that, you know, people should be more lenient to a unit being slot 2 or 3. Because sometimes being a slot 3 supporting unit, sometimes being a slot 2 unit is fine, right? In my opinion, anyways.
Vilify, what do you think of that hot take? More emphasis on slot 2 and 3 instead of just slot 1.
I kind of enjoy the novelty that comes with a slot 1 unit, right? Like we see someone like Trunks of Vegeta and it's just kind of like really exciting. It's like, oh, look, we have a really, really reliable slot 1 unit here. But the perspective of it being like, oh, look, another cookie cutter slot 2 unit. I think that is a little bit overblown. I think Minato's actually right here. I don't know how spicy that is, but I agree. I think the benchmark of people always looking like for slot 1 units, I think is a bit like overblown for sure.
And one thing I would like to add, if a unit specifically gets buffs in slot 1, that means that eventually when, you know, more power creep comes and that unit gets pushed off rotation and they lose those buffs from being slot 1, they'll be more likely to fall off a cliff rather than a unit that's in slot 2 or 3 because that's already their designated role, if that makes sense, right? Because they're already going to be pushed off, so a slot 2 unit moving to slot 3 isn't as bad as a slot 1 unit who wants buffs in slot 1 or something like that moving to a slot 3, right?
I think,
my opinion.
I think if you look at like the way STR Cooler has built this new LR, his most impressive turn, I don't know if it's going to be possible for Power Creep to age out that potential like 200 or not 200, but 2.5 million defense or so that he could potentially have. So I think he could really age well in that regard with what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I can see both sides of it. I still feel like we still need more slot 1 units, but I get that, yes, there should be some more emphasis on slot 2 and slot 3 and that those units are okay. I actually think the biggest need in today's game is actual support units that can survive difficult content because we've got so many support units, but a lot of them, they'll just get you killed in one shot. So I feel like one of our bigger needs in today's game is actually a slot 3 unit that can support and survive attacks.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Joe. Sorry to interrupt you once more.
No, you're good. This is your take, man. This is your take.
That, for example, we'll talk about this more, but like with the upcoming LR Metal Cooler seems we're getting, some people got mad at me for saying this, but I would actually really like him to be like a floating around slot 3 mega support tank unit in slot 3, right? The reason why is because if you look at the Wicked Bloodline team, and let's assume he's going to be a Wicked Bloodline leader, we have the 2 Golden Friezas, that could lock down slot 1. There's the LR Golden Frieza, the AGL one, and then if you're on global, I guess you can run the tech one. You have like Cooler in the middle slot, another strong unit on the second rotation, and then the Coolers floating around, really supporting and bringing the entire team together. I think that would be like really, really good, not only just for his team, but just any team. Because you could just throw him on any team and he'd be able to work if he's supporting, being a nice tank, maybe providing, like with support, the whole rotation making him even tankier, right? And I think that could be really cool if they make a design like that. Maybe even to where, he gets abilities in slot 1 and then different abilities in slot 3. I think what the Wicked Bloodline kind of teams really need right now is a very strong, support defensive unit. In fact, even just all villain teams in general, I think really need just a strong supporting tank, someone like, even like Tech God Goku or something, right? Someone that can help bring the team together a lot more compactly.
We just need more Chilais, really. Just give us some more
Yeah, I
Chilais.
mean, we got Chilai, right? But she's not even on, she doesn't even really, you don't run her on villain teams, right? Even though she's extreme class.
So you just copy and paste her effect onto other character names, and that's all you gotta do. That's it.
You're missing the point, guys.
Imagine if Cooler had the Scouter.
Oh yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Kidding.
Who gives Chilai, Lemo, and Broly big bad bosses? Lemo.
It's Lemo.
He needs he needs an extreme support class unit,
And he'd have big bad bosses. Oh my goodness. You're
That's
right.
what I'm saying.
Oh,
He's
crazy.
Beast mode. Movie boss leader right there.
While we have Turles, like AGL Turles, right? There's no super class enemy, so his abilities are really held back by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So Vil, you got a nice spicy take for us this week?
Yeah, I had to come up with this one on the spot a little bit, but I think Trunks and Vegeta's leader skill is going to be the best leader skill in the game for over 2 years.
Okay, over 2 years. Minato, do you agree with that?
I mean, if we keep just at 200%, I could see why you would say that, but I don't think it's possible for them to make a new leader skill type or anything like that. Like, what if they introduce like triple category leader skills, right? Or, eventually we'll get, the Carnival LRs. What if there's like a 200% pure Saiyan Carnival LR leader, right? Oof. Then you could probably argue that could be a better leader skill just because of the pure buffs, right?
No take Ultimate Gohan on that.
That is true. I guess I fall back there, but there's interesting ways if they want to move forward with leader skills, because they can put effects like damage reduction, critical hits, and all these kind of weird things into leader skills now with how they updated the leader skill, 200% meta. So we've yet to see effects like those. You could argue that at this point you probably won't see anything like that, but who knows? Maybe the 8th anniversary LRs gives you like 30% crit and their leader skill or something crazy, right? That'd be insane, right?
What if we get to the 230% leader skill where it's like a Carnival Goku leader skill with an extra 30% buff on it?
That could be interesting. Again, you never know.
Yeah.
We can't really accurately predict. If we're talking about just the roster, there's no way that they could beat that category though. Like, unless it's like just all, or if it's like, super class 200% or something crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that roster itself is too huge. That's why I thought they would save that for Beast Gohan. I thought that would be Beast Gohan's category, but they're using that Trunks and Vegeta, so
yeah, I think the thing that's playing in favor for Vilify is that I feel like they're gonna wait longer than 2 years before they do a new category meta. This still feels way too new, too fresh, and considering that what was 5 years since we got like another category meta, I think that's safe that we're not going to extend beyond the 200 unless they do something cheeky like they did with the Reps of Universe 7 with that Goku Frieza LR, and they did an extra 7%. They could do something really small like that to put a specific number in, because we know how they like their numbers. But I think for the most part we're pretty safe on the 200. But I do agree with Minato too. If they just say Pure Saiyan's 200, like, it's over. Like, and it's talk about a category that's going to get buffed every 2 seconds. And then you're going to get new. And the other reason too that I do think that their leader skill could fall off is if Minato's hot take is true, that Trunks and Vegeta are going to fall off quickly, then you might not actually want them as your leader if they truly do fall off quickly, like Minato thinks. That could be the other argument there.
It could just update.
Yeah, I would say
leader
they're
for
not
that category, right?
I would say they're not gonna fall off quickly, but like in terms of them being leading on their own team, there's already like like with the Goku Black and Zamasus, right? You obviously can't really run rotation like them because there's no like parent bond child. If we're talking about strictly Future Saga on top of that, but even for just short, difficult content, the fact that they'll have the guard for the first 5 turns could be interesting. But once we get to longer content, and then the other units that you would run are just too powerful to keep them like as second and third slots to the Vegeta and Trunks, then they'll lose all those buffs, and then they'll become considerably weaker, right? That's a way you can kind of talk about that team, not really the roster, but the team itself, right?
Right. All right, well, let's go to my hot take. So mine's a very new take on a very recent unit. I'm going to say that AGL Metal Cooler, the new EZA we just got, not only is he underrated, I'm going to say he's the best TUR EZA. Now, keep in mind, I'm coming from a global perspective where we don't have that ridiculous Trunks to put with physical Gohan. Minato, what do you think of this take?
I completely disagree. I don't think so. I think that if I had to rank them, I would say Namegoku's better. I would say that Future Gohan is better. Let me look at other EZAs and see if I can crush your hopes and dream. Right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Let me see. Hold on. I'd have to pull up like there's like a page on the wiki for like extreme Z-Awaken characters. I just found it. I would argue Blue. Nah, I wouldn't say Blue Evolution Vegeta is better. I think that's a little too far. But yeah, I'd say maybe he could be third. I could see him third, but that's because he doesn't have 200% right now. Once he gets to 200%, I could see him shoot up higher. I just feel like compared to the other EZA TUR, she's very similar. Where I think Namegoku and Future Gohan, they have tech to help survive super attacks, and I think that's the most important thing right now because obviously a lot of these top 2 units can easily survive normal attacks against these bosses. So defensively, the next thing to look at if we're going to rate them together is how could they do against supers. Namegoku at least has that chance to guard any stacks, allowing him to get pretty high defensive stats with guard. Future Gohan, damage reduction, obviously very good, and he's next to the best unit in the game. Metal Cooler, he caps out like about 550k defense. If he gets tagged by like 8 AGL Broly, he just gets one shot, like 700k plus deep like damage against him. That's the issue with him, is that he doesn't have anything special to help him against those super attacks. It's the same with a lot of these like EZA TURs recently, but again, if I'm going to compare them, that's really where it falls off a little. Very, very strong though. I can see why you would like him.
Yeah,
Vilify,
I think that's the
what do you
best
think?
specifically.
I think Minato said it really well with the defensive gimmicks are everything right now. Like stats are great, but when these bosses, I'm not gonna like kind of put him in the Cell Max bar just because obviously he's AGL, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
let's not-
I mean, yeah.
let's
I'm not talking
not
about
act like
Max.
let's
I'm
not act
thinking about like
yeah.
high end red zone, like the
Yeah,
final
right,
form
yeah.
Cooler hits like 1.5 million, right? It's like Cooler gets crushed. He takes 1 million damage.
Right. Yeah, and I had a train of thought and you threw me off there a bit.
My bad.
No,
That's all
you're
good.
fine. No,
My-
You're
you're fine.
talking
so-
about not against Cell Max, right?
Yeah, and like you said really well with the not having a guard or a damage reduction, and obviously I feel like they kind of neutered this EZA because a certain somebody is coming, right?
I mean,
yeah, and that's
we know that
that's
LR is going to share the same name, so
That is
Yeah.
right.
disappointing, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the other thing in general too is just these EZA TURs, the TUR EZAs, they don't want them to overshadow the summonable units. Like they don't want to make them the best units in the game, but they want to bring them somewhat up to par. But they definitely, you can tell they are trying to balance them. They're not going to make them stop red zone and solo them themselves. So that's definitely what they're going for. My thought with it is I do see the argument that like he is basically just stats, right? He does need more tech. I agree with that. I was just, and we'll talk about him because he's going to be one of our topics, so I won't like spoil it, but I'm just going to say I was really impressed with his numbers on a 170 team, and I'm really curious to see what he's going to look like on this Carnival Coolers team, and what his stats are going to look like. And I was just really impressed with him overall. But yes, you guys all have valid arguments, but I will say mine was the spiciest take because nobody agreed with me, so I get that, right? I get that much.
I guess, right? But like you could say something stupid and then it won't be really
oh,
Right.
I think it's within, but you admitted like could be top 3, so it's not like I just threw up some random like obviously wrong thing. Like I think there's some viability to what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say it's hot
good.
though. Like that's the thing. The fact that I'm half agreeing with you,
it's hot.
I can see why.
No. Wait. So you said you agree with me. All right, we'll just clip that then. Minato actually agrees with me.
I would argue that Tech God Goku is more relevant right now than him. Just because there's so many movie bosses. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're only talking
about.
Sounds
weird to say that movie bosses.
Yes,
but if we're talking about just Dokkan Fest, then whatever, right? But
yeah.
That's all I have to say about your spicy take.
Can I close this out with one thing? It's not an insult to call a unit the third best EZA at TURs when there's so many TUR EZAs, right? Like,
I mean, if I would group them in a tier list where it's like ZA, whatever, then letters, they would all be in the top tier. So they're pretty much tied. I think you could substitute them. It just depends on what you need. That's what they're kind of going for. Like certain situations, these units will be better than the other unit, right?
Right. All right. Well, let's jump into our next topic, and the big topic is part 2 has arrived for the worldwide celebration. The LRs were confirmed. It was really funny because like the official account tweeted out the actual images, and then like in game the notice is all like secretive, like who's coming? We don't know. They show the banners with like no face, like no pictures on them. It's kind of funny. So we don't know what the kits are, but we're thinking the banners, because I believe the current sales end on the 14th. So I think we're thinking the 15th, the 16th are when these are going to drop. And it is confirmed to be a Carnival Metal Cooler. And then the LR Dokkan Fest is Goku and Vegeta. So we're going to start off with some predictions. So Vilify, do you have any predictions as to what these units are going to look like or what you want to see out of these units?
I guess the simplest way to go about Metal Cooler is take the EZA and just make it better. And that's probably what this Metal Cooler is going to look like, right? Maybe just a Wicked Bloodline 200% straight up, I think would be a respectable leader skill. When it comes to passives, it is just really tricky, right? I think that what I would want him to do is have like a ton of regeneration with his thing, because that's like his whole niche, right? It's like where Goku and Vegeta blow him to pieces like 4 times and he just keeps coming back, right?
Yep, for sure. Do you want to throw out any predictions on the Goku Vegeta while you're at it?
I guess like this would be like a minor thing, but like how can they incorporate the kick that Vegeta does to Metal Cooler into that animation to his, That's like one of my favorite Vegeta things ever, where Goku's on the verge of losing and then Vegeta's like just straight up kicks Cooler right in the head.
Right, for sure. Minato, what do you think are we going to get with these new LRs?
I think that really it's just difficult to predict. I would say I would like Cooler to lead Wicked Bloodline. I think that would be the best choice. I know a lot of people want artificial life forms just because Kid Buu, they want that 200% for Kid Buu. I just would prefer to have an actual Wicked Bloodline leader, and then make him a really strong support type unit. Even though people want Metal Cooler to be out there in the front, doing tons of damage and stuff like that, which I'm sure is the most likely scenario. My personal hopes would be that he's a unit that can help bring the teams together, and obviously I want him to do his own damage and tank very well as well. But I'd be fine if they sacrifice some of his stats and make him a very good, supporting unit. I said that earlier, right? And I said it like twice right now, but still, that's my personal hopes. Goku and Vegeta, I would say they could be a very strong slot 2 unit. We have Carnival Goku. We have like tons. Again, we're getting like tons of slot 1 units. Vegeta and Trunks, even Tech God Goku, maybe he'll work well with them on Movie Heroes, right? There's just a billion slot 1 units for Super Class right now. So I think hanging up being slot 2 like them would be fine. Especially because, again, like I said, we just got Carnival Goku, so he'll be a very strong slot 1 unit, right? You could arguably just run like slot 1 Carnival Goku, then this guy, and then on the other rotation, I have Carnival Goku, then I don't know, S tier Namek Goku or something like that on the Power Revival team, right? There's a lot of different options you can use like that. So that's just my personal opinion. What I hope is that they do incorporate the final fight against like the Metal Cooler core into their animations, even if it's just a costume change, which is what I expect. I think that'd be really cool.
Costume
Yeah,
change.
for
I
sure.
didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they get like Goku gets his shirt ripped off, Vegeta gets like battle damage, right?
Yeah, for sure. They definitely could incorporate that. So I have a few predictions as to what I think they could do here. I definitely agree with Minato that I want the cooler to be more defensive. I actually think they're just going to parallel part 1. So the Carnival LR is going to be the very defensive unit, and I think that the Metal Cooler is going to be the first extreme unit to have revive mechanic. I think there's a pretty decent chance of that happening. I think he could possibly have guaranteed guard or damage reduction or something, but I would love to see a support passive in there as well. The leader skill, I do agree. I think Wicked Bloodline or Artificial Life Forms are the most likely. I think Wicked Bloodline makes the most sense, but I'm worried they won't do it because of the EZA cooler already being the Wicked Bloodline, but I don't know. We'll see. But I would be okay with either one, but I would prefer Wicked Bloodline because I want to run these other Frieza cooler units that aren't Artificial Life Forms, right? The Goku and Vegeta, I think then would parallel STR cooler, and I could see them getting a lot of additionals, attacking a lot, being more offensively based, maybe being a slot 2 and getting defense on super. I think they could borrow from the cooler movie. So we just got the EZA for the Tech Vegeta we'll talk about later, but then there was also an EZA for the physical cooler movie Goku. And both of those units have things in common in that they both have built-in crit chance and they both have stun chance. They both also, their passives are affected by HP. So I could see any of those falling into play here with this LR. I really hope they don't do the HP mechanic. I'm not a fan of like units getting better as they lose HP or things like that. But giving them built-in crit chance and then having stun could be good because then you're going to go all in additionals with these units, and then maybe they like cooler, they have some type of build-up, get a lot of defense on super. They could be a very powerful offensive unit, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking the Goku Vegeta is going to be offensive, cooler is going to be defensive. That's what I'm hoping for. So any other thoughts on the LRs before we move on?
I think the Goku and Vegeta might end up looking like a better version of the physical Blue Boys.
Yeah, I could see that. That's kind of what I was describing.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
I do think some nice tech on them would be like orb changing. I would love to see orb changing. I mean, who doesn't want orb changing, right? But especially, I mean, obviously being an LR, I want both units to have some type of key mechanic, right? You don't just want them sitting there trying to naturally get up to that 18 key. So, and they've been pretty good about that with LRs, making it very reasonable for them to get their 18 key super. So they'll have some tech for that, I'm sure. All right, so next we're going to talk about the Dokkan Fest EZA Metal Cooler. My hot take. So let's just not talking about if he's the best or whatever, but just your analysis of this unit. So, Minato, what is your experience with this cooler and what do you think of him?
Well, my experience with cooler. The AGL Metal Cooler, you mean? Just
AGL sure, Dokkan. Yep, the AGL Dokkan Fest EZA. Yep.
Okay. I was like, sorry, I was thinking of
we have so many metal coolers. Yeah.
We're just talking about the STR cooler, right?
Yeah.
Well, again, I said a lot of my thoughts earlier, but I think he's good. I think that they could have given him a little more in the defensive side, right? Like a lot of these EZHURs. But if I would say he's between good or bad, I would say definitely is good. He's definitely usable and runnable and difficult content. It's just, if you get sniped with the super, you're just dead. Because that's how hard these bosses hit. Mm-hmm. It's not because he's necessarily bad defensively, because he could take those normals like pretty comfortably. But they just increase the power of these bosses so hard that even though they're buffing these EZAs like they probably have been in the past, it just doesn't fit the current needs of what is power crept right now, right? So that's really it. It's just unfortunate, but if you don't have like guard or damage reduction, 550k defense is not enough to take those supers and you just die. He hits very hard though. I like the heal and his debuff could be cool in Super Battle Road, but that's really it.
Vilify, what are your thoughts on the AGL Metal Cooler?
Yeah, Minato said it really well, where I think he is really good, but the just lack of a defensive mechanic really just kind of makes him not a liability, but you just have to keep him, you just have to be aware, right? Like it's like it just becomes an RNG game. It just literally just becomes like the core of Dokkan's gameplay, where it's like literally just all RNG based, and you get tagged with a super, your day is done. But I think being able to see that like 11 million attack stat or whatever is very impressive from a TUR like this. I'm kind of like traumatized by Metal Coolers at the moment because I had to farm up all those free-to-play units. So I'm kind of just sick and tired of seeing Metal Cooler. And especially coming off the heels of the tier list that we did for Cooler. It's just I'm all over the place with Cooler. I'm kind of like, I'm coolered out, so to speak. But I do like
Well,
CZA. He is very well done, I think. I just wish that he would have had a defensive gimmick.
Vilify, you're gonna have to put up with more because I believe there's a confirmed part 3 cooler theme coming. So
Ooh, a third coup wrap.
The third coup wrap, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
coup wrap, golden coup wrap. Let's go.
the golden coup wrap. That's right. So my thoughts on this metal cooler is I was very impressed with him, and I get what you guys are saying. He doesn't have that defensive tech, but when I think about it, I think of the scope of the entire game. I'm looking at this cooler built up. 500 plus K starter turn defense, 9 mil attack stats, and he's only on a 170 lead. So those numbers are going to go up on a 200% lead. And I just think in the scope of the game, like how many units can have that high of starter turn defense? How many units are hitting those attack stats while having that much defense? Now, I get it. Other units have lower defense, but they're guarding, their damage reduction, whatever. But in the grand scope of the game, I do think this is on the upper echelon of units. It's just we're being hit so hard by this super difficult content. It's like, can you survive a 1.5 mil? There's a very small percent of units in the game that can even survive that, right? So yeah, this guy's not invincible. He can't walk into anything. But hey, you're bringing an AGL unit into a type advantage fight when he's got guard and then he's 500 plus K defense. Sometimes you have to consider too, like, can a unit just survive Cell Max with a Whis on, or can they survive Broly with a Whis on? Sometimes you just have to consider that too, because there are many units that can't even survive those with Whis. So even if it's a good enough unit where I can get by with one Whis and then have another Whis and I don't have to double Whis, right? Yeah, go ahead, Minato. Shoot me down.
You can't use Whis against Cellmax.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out examples, right? And I wouldn't use this unit against Cellmax anyways because he's type disadvantage.
You can't
yes, I'm saying on that power level, right? Yes, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I'm just trying to say examples of like really hard hitting bosses, right? So we'll focus just on red zone. Let's throw Cellmax out. But you go into any of these red zones, right? And you go into red zone Broly. How many people have to like double Whis the AoE phase just because units can't handle it, right? So now if we can at least fill out my teams that they can handle stages on single Whis, now I've got 4 turns of damage reduction instead of 2. It's going to make the fights easier. I just feel like these bosses are so overpowered unless you are the tippity top tier, like newest Dokkan Fest craziness, or you're like one of these rare instances like Physical Gohan that get these, they have that guard or damage reduction in their kit, or Tech Ultimate Gohan, right? Like we got our biggest fan right here. It's very rare instances that these older units can tank this stuff. So yeah, that's the way I look at it. But I do agree with what you're saying about like Namek Goku, because he can guard, he can stack all that stuff. But overall, I would say I'm happy with this metal cooler. I think he looks great. I think I'll be really interested to see how he's going to look on this new cooler team, right? Anybody else want to throw down on metal cooler before we move on?
No, I think you made really good points. I like him a lot. He's good.
Yeah,
he's a great EZA. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I do agree. 3. I do agree, though. I want these units that are actually like scouting or doing scouter things in their animation to actually have scouter. Our boy Raditz, like actually having the scout. Like, come on now. All right. Anyways, let's talk about EZA Piccolo in the Tech Vegeta. Talk about if you've used them yet, where you think they're viable. I'll just say, like, as a general statement, I think they did a good job of giving both of these units a purpose in the game. I'll just say that to start off. But Vilify, what are your thoughts on the EZA Piccolo and Tech Vegeta, if you've used them?
Yeah, so I'm coming off of just reading the kit impressions. I'm actually currently grinding them up as we speak because I found a good little time slot to do this, right? But I think Piccolo having that AoE stun mechanic is very good. Obviously, it's not guaranteed. It's kind of like a Gotenks situation, but I think, the Namekians need all the help they can get, and a buff for this, like a solid Piccolo. We've gotten 2 solid Piccolos this celebration, so I'd say I'm pretty satisfied with how the Namekian team is going to start shaping out, and a certain Piccolo is probably coming within the next couple of months, hopefully. So that team, who knows, could be looking pretty legit soon.
I'm very excited for that potential Namekian team, right? Minato, what do you think of the Piccolo and Tech Vegeta?
I think they're good. Piccolo could be really strong for World Tournament. Vegeta, I like his stun ability, right? The crits that he has, they're interesting, for sure. Mm-hmm. They're not spectacular, but they can help you in areas that they're specifically suited towards, and I'm fine with that. As long as they have a use, that makes me happy.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So I did showcases on both. So I just want to say that I was actually kind of blown away by this EZA Piccolo, and they built him in a way to balance him that I really liked, and that obviously he's meant to be an AoE unit and used in like World Tournament and SBR. But what they did was they said, hey, if you're facing one enemy, we're going to give him a little bit of a stat boost. And so I was using him against a single enemy, and this man was hitting 7.5 mil attack stats consistently. Now he's going to be a little bit iffy because he's nuking, but he orb changes, which that's a great valuable thing to have. So even on this potential new Piccolo team, this guy might just be a floating orb changer for you and hitting decently hard in slot 3. I was really impressed with that. I do think too, now this won't apply to like me and Minato, because I know in World Tournament we like running our full LR teams. But for say like that average player that maybe doesn't have all the LRs, I mean the standard World Tournament team is like a Jocko Chaozu and then like some type of AoE setup. This Piccolo could be actually the best World Tournament unit because he gets guaranteed crit. So in World Tournament, you're literally just doing one shot, quit, you're done, go to the next phase, that's going to reset, he's going to have guaranteed crit again. So I think there is a lot of value to players, especially players that are newer to World Tournament, that have struggled with it in the past. I think Piccolo is going to be a great pickup there. Tech Vegeta, I tried him out on a 200% team. I was getting anywhere from 4 to 5 mil attack stats. I don't like that he gets stats when he loses health. That's just a mechanic I've never liked. But kind of like, he's not like Nappa though, where he like drops off a cliff if he's not getting, because it's only small parts of the passive. So he was ranging from the 4 to 5 to mil attack range. His stun utility, I think, really makes him a place in Super Battle Road, and I really think that's where this Tech Vegeta is going to be used. I don't see myself personally using him that much outside of Super Battle Road, but I think these are fine easy A's. They're fine units. I'm very excited once again for like potential Namekian team to be ridiculous, right? Any other thoughts on these guys before I move on? All right, so we've got new Red Zone stages for the Wicked Bloodline. We've got the Mecha Frieza King Cold and the Cooler stage. So Minato, have you taken these on, and what do you think of these stages?
Yeah, I have taken them on. I think that the Mecha Frieza King Cold stage was surprisingly easy. Though I ran like, the Super Saiyans team with like the Goku family support memory. So that may have helped out a little. So I'm gonna try no item those stages later today. But the Metal Cooler stage was actually a little difficult. Not really because of Metal Cooler himself, but the the Cyclopean Guard, man.
It's Cyclopean Guard Red Zone. It's not even Metal Cooler. It's Cyclopean Guard Red Zone.
Since it's just the second phase Metal Cooler, you bring a bunch of tech units. But that guard, like he does like 800k damage, and he lowers your attack and defense. Could be very, very annoying, and it just gave me some trouble. Right, it was pretty funny, but I was able to get them done. Not really the most terrible stages ever. I would honestly argue that I would say though the Metal Cooler stage is probably the hardest one in the Wicked Bloodline that we've seen so far. So, my personal opinion on that, I think that stage will get people the most trouble.
For sure. Vilify, what are your thoughts on the new Red Zone?
Yeah, Minato's slacking a little bit. I already got the no item runs done for both of them. They're on youtube.com/Vilify. But
check out Vilify's channel. Get him to 1,000 subs. Let's go. Come on now.
But the Cyclopean Guard, I just like, it's funny. Like that's the first thing that we all talked about, right? Like it's just, I don't like. I'm so surprised that phase was tough, right? Like we're just kind of thinking it's like, all right, let's just get past this. But Trunks and Vegeta did a crit for like 600k damage on the turn 1, and I'm thinking like, oh boy, it's gonna.
Oh, that's where you got the new item, huh? Okay.
Oh yeah, of course. what else am I supposed to use?
I didn't use that team because I'm just not gonna go with the same team every single time. I'm not. I'm not.
I'm shameless when it comes to no item runs.
No, when it comes to no item run, I'm gonna run them. But
yeah. No,
because of the first clear, I want to.
First clear, I could. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. But the only thing that was annoying, I'll admit that I did die on my first time against King Cold and Mecha Frieza, but that's just because the LR gods did not dodge and also got sealed, so I couldn't raise their defense. Huge skill issue. They got sealed, couldn't raise the defense.
Look, that's what happens. This guy can't win without Vegeta and Trunks.
No,
unfortunate truth.
This was on the Trunks and Vegeta team, so
oh, you're even worse.
Really
then.
fraudulent.
You're actually bad at the game. I'm sorry.
What would Vilify do on Global where he can't even use that team?
I just got caught.
You would just cower in fear and cry.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's right.
Didn't have all the no item runs for the movie Red Zone beforehand. Oh no. My cord is tripping. You guys are good. But.
All right.
Oh, cord issues. Oh no. Look at that.
So I took on both of these stages. I'm not a tryhard. I don't go for no item runs. I just get it done. If I'm bored later on, maybe I'll go for no item runs. But I thought the Mecha Frieza stage was fairly easy. I literally just said, I'm going to take a team, not even like, I saw there was kind of a smattering of typings in there. I'm like, I just took an LR Cooler team. and I actually ran 2 AGL units. I tried out the new EZA Metal Cooler, and I had AGL Full Power Freeze in there. They were type disadvantaged against Mecha Freeze, and I still got out of there and got it done. So it really wasn't that bad. Just tried a few times. On the Cyclopean Guard red zone stage, however, yeah, he was pretty tough. I did get it done my first try, but I was like shocked when my Carnival Goku took a shot for like 400k from that guy. Like, what the heck is going on here? So, but all you really need to do in that stage is you just run like a mega full tech team, get past that Cyclopean Guard, and you're good. Because then you just have that AGL Cooler phase. I think what the AGL Cooler is meant to do to be tough is I think he can heal, and I think he stacks defense on super. So I feel like if you're not offensive enough and you let this guy go on too long, like he's going to get almost unkillable and beat you down. But I really didn't struggle with him. I just had a really good run, and I had a pretty stacked tech team going. And when you've got God Goku and you've got the Piccolo, like defensively, I had a lot of defense there as well. So I didn't think it was that bad. But you got to watch out for this Cyclopean Guard. He is like the Tech God Goku defense because he is not a movie boss. So you got a high Tech God Goku early, but then you get to phase 2 and then you're golden, right? So that was a little bit tricky because, I remember having that problem in the other red zone too, because sometimes you fight the minions in the first phase and they're not movie bosses. Tech God Goku will get tagged there, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. Any other thoughts on the red zone before we move on?
I'd say that the active skills really come in handy against Cooler, right? Because like literally in the no item run that I did, it was like I had Carnival Goku's active skill, 2 Father Son Gallic Gun, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's active skill, the Blue Duo's active skill. So his healing number is really high, right? He heals like 7 million HP. So I was always just kind of saying like, can I net more than 7 million damage this turn to make sure that he doesn't just negate everything I did? And that's usually just how I ended up beating it, right? But
yeah,
if you have like a nullification on the
ran,
heal, you're good.
I ran the LR Gods team and they mounted him. So
yep, that's what I did.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Well, the other thing too is they always show you where he heals, and I believe that is something you could nullify out if it's in the right spot. So you could potentially nullify.
Does it count as an action like that? I
don't know. I'm going with assumptions here. I didn't actually do it, but I would assume it does.
I heard someone say I nullified his heal, so I believe it's a thing.
That's cool.
Because I mean, it shows up as a turn, right? It's got the little circle with his face on it. So yeah, I assume you can block that out. But yeah, I don't think it's that bad. But like I said, if you don't have the power, then I think it could be trouble because he's going to be healing up and stacking defense, and that'll get nasty. So next we have this godly link level event, which holy cow, I did my 3 runs on this, and I was very impressed with what I got. Vilify, what was your experience with this new link level event?
I think I got at least 1 level 10 in every single run that I did. I don't think I had like the craziest RNG where it was like, whoa, look, 4 level 10 links, but I just took a bunch of units that were on the fringe, like I'm talking like 5 level 10 links, and I'm like, let me just see if I can push them over the edge, because I'm not going to waste my keys on that. It's just not worth it, because I'm trying to get as much power level as I can from that. But, you know, I think this is a really nice alternative. If you don't want to spend money on the keys, here you go. Here's something that we can do 3 times a week, and, you know, it can really help you buff out some of these units that you're trying to get done. I think this is a good addition for sure.
Yeah, and I think we're getting this for a month, so I think we'll get probably 4 sets of this, maybe 3, depending on what the timing is.
That's better than the keys.
Yeah, absolutely. Minato, what did you think of this event?
I think it looks cool. It has a very high, rate for link leveling. 10, I think it's 10% higher than the actual. Like, the Guru event was like, what, 19, and this one's like at 29 or something?
No, I think it's 38.
Oh, it's 38. Yeah, 38.
I think it's 38.
High, right?
Yeah.
I haven't actually tried the event yet, but I've seen many, many rounds on Twitter where, the multiple link level 10s and stuff like that. So that's going to be good. I forgot when exactly resets, but it doesn't reset before the units come out, right? It might,
I don't think so.
But I don't know. If it doesn't, I might just save the runs for when the new units drop, but we'll see.
Yeah, the one thing you might need to be careful of, Minato, is I'm not sure how this works, if it's just on a 7-day cycle or if it tracks 7 days after you run the event, because that's like how BCAN runs.
I'd have to check that, but we'll see.
Yeah, because I ran mine right away, obviously, and it says I can do it in however many days again. But so yeah, just check it, because I think there'll be a thing that says like when it resets for you, and then as long as it says it's 4 days away and it's actually 4 days away, then you're fine. Yeah, because I don't want you to wait on that and accidentally like miss out on a run because of the time limit. But
it's good, but I don't really care. I have the keys anyways.
Sure,
right? I mean,
so yeah.
Is it weird? I just because
I gave you the rationale,
at least on me,
bro.
I have 20. I have 22. And it's like, it's good, obviously,
Mhm.
very, very good, and I shouldn't skip out on it. But if it's like off by a day or two, it's like, it doesn't really matter. Right?
No, I just don't want you to go so far that if it is set up to be like you get exactly 4 like runs of this, that if you do it too late, you're only gonna get 3 runs of it instead of 4. So I just want to make sure you don't miss it. But I did some runs on
7 days, so I'll do it.
You might need to run that then, because it's probably going to be 7 days from when you run it.
I think Minatosh is showing this JP elitism. I play JP, and you heard me just give it praise, right? Where it's like you have a couple
I literally said it was really good.
I don't know, but you're like, oh, I have 28 too. Why would I need this?
No, well, I don't even have units that I could use in the event yet. So,
all right,
I think I'm gonna grind up the metal coolers and then use them.
Yeah, like
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, mine was very successful. I did have runs where I had like 4+ level 10 links. Like it almost felt like I was running the Supreme Kai event. It felt like almost every link was leveling up. I had to cringe though, because I saw on Twitter, I think it was Kensei posted all level 2 links on that sucker. I'm like, what are you doing? No, like you gotta, like I recommend like 8 or higher is ideal, but even 7 or higher, like you gotta go in there with really high links to
only
make it
9s. Come on now.
7 or higher.
It's all about power level.
I mean, so now who's the elitist vilify? Only 9s or higher, huh? Someone's elite over here. I don't know.
You know, not everyone's gonna have level 9 link characters.
Okay,
all right.
You got to have at least one. You know.
Yeah.
If you're
we thought this was a metal cooler celebration, but it's actually a Cyclopean Guard celebration because we have another event with Cyclopean Guards. This is the new event where it's similar to that Frieza event we have. So basically the way this event works, I'll just summarize it. You're fighting waves of Cyclopean Guards and they're full sets of enemies. So you got like AoE can be really good here. And what happens is they get stronger with each wave and the number of turns you get to defeat each wave decreases with each time. Basically, it's a total of 5 waves you have to defeat, and on the last wave, you have to get it done in 1 turn, otherwise it ends and it cuts you off. You get rewards based on how many guards you defeat, and there is a stage for each typing. Now, the catch here is you have to have movie bosses or movie heroes to get increased damage, and you have to always be type advantage. If you are type disadvantage, it severely cuts down your damage. So they're really locking you into like mono typing teams here. So Vilify, do you want to tell us about your experience with this event? How many stages you got done? Any tips you want to give to players on this?
Yeah, I personally, it took me, I didn't get everything done like right away, but I'm 5 for 5 at this point. But the int one definitely is the hardest to me. That one's just lacking like that crazy powerful AoE. If you want to get done a free one, we talked about it before the show, I believe, but literally just the physical enemy one. If you have LR Cooler, you win. If you have LR Broly, you win, right? Even the old easy ATUR Broly, if you have him, you win. Like, you just kind of got to pair it up correctly. And then one strategy I see a lot of people use in the last phase, you want to use one of those orb-changing items. Think about the Wasabi Roulette item. I forget the technical name for it, but the Monaka masks, the Deborah cookies, anything that changes orbs to one typing, you want to try and get that AoE nuke. But here's a hidden gem for the int stage, right? Where you're using the physical, you're using a physical team. Chow Man. Trust me.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't even need to link with anybody. Just give him. He's doing like 3 million AOE's, and if they crit for like 7 million, that's basically one-shotting almost every phase except for the last one. I think that's how I did it personally. But a lot of different strategies you can use. Think premium tier AOE's, LR Majin Vegeta, LR Broly, like we said, even the int Broly. If you want to run on the int stage, if you want to use Legendary Existence and use Broly with Namek Goku with his guaranteed additionals, I think there are a lot of ways that you can tackle this and. Tech, especially another one. Just I'm kind of just running through all of them, right? But Tech, if you want to use the LR gods, they'll also kind of come in very handy. So a lot of different approaches to this, and I like the offensive based content rather than always just trying to survive the whole time, right?
Sure. Minato, thoughts on this event?
It's just the Frieza event, but easier. I haven't actually done the event yet, but it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult if you have all the units needed. You just want to go for AoEs. I've seen the strategy of, reversing your physical Brolys for the int phase, right? STRL Broly, I'm sure that Piccolo works. I've seen people run the LR gods, right? There's just a bunch of different options you can run. Even for physical, you can run finally physical Raditz, the goats.
Let's go. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Let's go.
He's got a purpose. Physical Raditz.
I guess he's not movie bosses or movie heroes, right? But still,
he was saved
you
for
can still use them on the side.
This is his moment.
Have him like kind of clean things out at the end.
I mean, yeah, I was just talking about how Chow Man gets the job done. So yeah, you're 100% right. You don't need movie heroes or movie bosses.
Right. It's just you get more boosts if you have it.
Mhm.
But that's way too limiting because there's definitely typings that don't even have AoE options if you're just limiting to movie bosses, movie heroes. So going outside of that, I think, is a good idea as long as you can get enough damage out.
I've seen Int Majin Vegeta, Int Blue Evolution Vegeta, right? Because the AoE active skills, those help out a lot, especially Majin Vegeta with the guaranteed crits. I'm not sure who else. I mean, I guess on the wiki there's
Int Raditz.
Attack All.
That free-to-play Raditz?
Yeah, I've heard about him, huh? Let's see. Physical or Prime Battle Krillin, the Go Tanks, right? AGL Go Tanks. I've seen actually, Kawaii.
Oh, yes, the AGL Go Tanks is what I was actually trying.
He did a run of double AGL Go Tanks, and then that.
Yep, that's actually what I was going to try. I was going to go into my Discord and ask for a Go Tanks friend because I think that'll actually get it done.
Yeah, there's I guess there is if you're not gonna fall under 50% HP, but AGO LR Golden Frieza, he's on there. LR Majin Vegeta, LR Graded Vegeta, right? There's different options you could use for sure, right? So yeah, I think that even for free-to-play players, some of these older AoE should be able to get the job done. If anything, just bring up the just bring a friend that could really be effective there too.
Yep.
And just hope that you can line up the last phase when that powerful friend unit is up, right?
You know who we didn't mention? Nappa / Vegeta.
Yep.
I used him in my AGL run, right? And then I just had Turles supporting him and LR Majin Vegeta, and that was able to just absolutely wipe it.
It's very easy to line up that unit you need because if they're in the first or third rotation, you just keep them on rotation. If they're in the second rotation, you float them off and they'll be back in the fifth one. So
depending on how fast you beat the waves.
Well, yeah,
you get multiple turns on the other waves. Yeah.
That's if you beat all the waves in one turn, which I'm assuming, it shouldn't be that hard unless it's the final phase.
Yep.
Depends on the team. And then back to Vilify's tip. This is what I did. So Vilify suggested bringing those orb changing items that give damage, which I bring one of those. And then I bring a Bulma item. The Bulma item, I believe, is a 25% attack increase. That really helps at the end as well, right? So basically, the strategy here, guys, is run type advantage, and you want units that are either AoE or units that have a lot of built-in additionals, because that's really the key to getting it done, because they do get tanky at the end, and you got to take out 5 of them, right? So, all right, any other thoughts on this before we move on? All right, so to close out our show, we're just going to do a fun little topic here, and we just want to talk about what our favorite EZAs are to date. So just any of your favorite EZAs. Doesn't matter if they're currently good or not. It could be like at the time they were a really exciting EZA. And maybe I'll just lead with this one in case you guys need a minute to think about it. But I think that second batch of Fusions EZAs, I loved that second batch of Fusions. So we're talking about Janembu, Whirus, Kuliza, Celza, Baby Janemba. That was just like a really nice batch of EZAs. I love that. And then I loved Tech Hit. Because this guy literally went from 0 to hero. So anytime they do that, Chow Man I can throw in with the fusions, right? Anytime they take these units that are just dead, like so dead, and they just make them crazy, those have been my favorite types of EZAs in the game. Minato, do you have something prepared, a favorite EZA or group of EZAs that you've had in the game's history?
I like the AGL Janembu. It's kind of weird, but AGL Janembu, his dodging is pretty cool. No, it's the Tech Janembu. I was thinking of the AGL Baby Janemba, both of them, right?
Yeah, they're
very, very, very good. Tech God Goku, I always have to say. Goku Black and Zamasu, and then I would say, I guess if I had to pick a Dokkan Fest, Int UI Goku was very exciting.
I was gonna say
that came out of nowhere, right? Int UI Goku, very, very cool.
Vilify, you can say Goku and Frieza if you want.
Yeah, the thing with Int UI Goku, right, is that they turned him from the UI Goku banner, him just being like a painful silhouette to see, right? That shirtless UI Goku looking at you when you're summoning for the other one, and it's like I could imagine like some people just got mad and bobbed him because it was the wrong UI Goku, and then it's like, oh no, he just got an EZA, and he was actually like really, really good.
He's good now.
Yeah, but I would say like if we want to go more on the recent side of things, I think the Super Saiyan 4 EZAs were a surprise that we didn't really see coming. I mean, obviously, like we could have been like, oh yeah, this could have happened, but it was like, are they really going to do this? Like, are they going to EZA the 4 years? And look at that, they went ahead and did it. You bring up a really good point with Tech Hit, where a unit goes from unusable to usable. I think that's really good. They did this with this Metal Cooler. I wouldn't say he's in my favorite batch of EZAs. Not a huge cooler guy, but now you got me thinking about it, right? Minato just stole all my thunder with the UI Goku one.
No,
right?
you're good.
Well, what about this, Vilify? The Ginyu Force.
Yes. The free-to-play Ginyu Force EZAs, those ones are super good.
Yep. Specifically, I love the
Tech Ginyu
physical
is
and
insane.
tech LRs. Yeah.
Yeah, the
They're good.
tech one is hitting like 8 million attack stats. It's pretty crazy. Like, and it's just like, this guy's floating, because most of the time I think you're just floating him, right? Like, once I have Jason Birder, my like the Infinity Gauntlet's done, right? Because like
Yeah.
Jason Birder, I just can't. I have Rakumen Gold though, but I just don't have Jason Birder yet.
Physical
Yeah.
Future Gohan, another really good
Very good
pick, I
one.
feel.
Evolution Blue Vegeta.
Yeah, physical Vegeta Blue.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of good options.
AGL Vegito, STR Janemba, and Janemba is like one of the best EZAs ever.
Right, like for his
Inch
time,
Golden
like
Frieza.
and he aged, yeah.
No,
All
not
the Golden
really.
Frieza EZAs essentially.
No,
like,
not in Golden Frieza. I mean, the
he was
Angel
a
one.
defensive stacker.
The Angel one.
Oh, yeah.
No,
never
that
mind.
one's trash, yeah.
Very sad.
I think, weren't you the one saying he was going to be underrated when you read the kit, and then it was like, oh, never mind, he just.
I don't
sucks.
remember.
I know you were really excited about him when the release.
I was,
came out.
I'm
Like,
very
he's gonna be
I was
so
very
good.
excited about him because he
Minato conveniently
he
forgot
had-
whether he said that or not.
he had the like because he was so good when he came out, and then they just easy hit him. They're like,
Didn't they keep in the Super Ally debuff?
yeah. Then he wants to be in a full representative Universe 7 like team. And another thing is that he gets extra stats against Superclass, but there's like no Superclass enemies. So
Just wait. He'll have his resurrection when we have like a Beast Gohan event.
no, he still sucks.
He'll still Gohan will be physical.
Something like that. Another one I'll throw out, a more recent one, and this is just for me personally, but STR Namek Goku, I was really impressed with his EZA, but the reason why he was really exciting for me is because he's somebody that I skipped initially, and by the time I actually pulled him, he was already pretty much like unusable. So
Mhm.
this is really like my first time using him, and it's just been so much fun. And he's got really good animations.
That's what I was going
like
to say.
his
Yeah.
animations are fire. And even
Mhm.
like getting the rage mode off, even though rage mode they do a terrible job with it, but I really enjoyed STR Namek Goku as well. Anybody else want to throw down before we end the show?
How about we
It's all
pivot
for
and
me.
talk about the most disappointing EZA real quick? Like, what EZA made you the most upset?
Well, I
Golden
think
Frieza.
I was gonna
Golden
say I think somebody already mentioned one. Yeah, who just for me, hands down, Int LR Gohan. Like like literally he EZAs and he doesn't even hit harder. Like, are you kidding me? And his defense is just okay. Like,
I
and
think-
he's
yeah.
like one of my favorite arts in the game and one of my favorite characters. And then AGL Majin Vegeta I'll throw into that as well. But he was at least a little better than the Gohan. But geez,
You
like,
know-
yeah, let's have a Bulma on rotation. Sure, how realistic is that?
AGL
wait.
Super Vegito.
Yep.
They could have made him better. He's
Oh,
good,
for
but
sure. They were
Wait,
too
I wouldn't
afraid
say
of the
it's good,
counters
but-
back then. They were really afraid of the
no,
counters.
it's not
back
even.
then.
It's not the counters. The damage reduction. It was
Yeah.
too high. Even though look what they did with AGL Golden Frieza. They like made nothing to him. Right? They gave him extra
Right.
attack. You know, it was like okay, right. He instead of 500k attack stats, he did 1.5. Sure, right. It was that damage reduction they're scared of.
What about with the Int Gohan you're talking about earlier? Is like, I think a lot of people I remember saying is like literally all they have to do is just give him defense and we're fine. And they just gave him defense and everybody's like, that's it.
No, he was
But
yeah,
not
it's
fine.
because-
also,
One thing is that people, it was one of the first LREZAs, so people didn't
Yeah.
really think about the stats not increasing, and then that's pretty much the big thing about it, right? And it made people really open their eyes about that.
Yeah, the only attack boost he got was going SA25 instead of SA20. That was literally all he got. Everything else was the same. And it just isn't noticeable.
I think the most disappointing thing about that though is that his key mechanic is so good, and they actually made his 18 key super actually look good. Shout out to
I know.
the shout out to the popsicle stick on the green screen or whatever. But yeah, and
I
you
forgot
can't-
the
it's
good
like
old
there's no point-
days. Oh my god, I can't believe they released them like that.
It's
Where they're just like
here's this
photos-
PNG. Yeah, up.
I just there's no way that was ever an actual release.
yeah, literally
They
a
were trolling.
puppet on a popsicle stick just holding in front of the screen dancing. Oh, that was so funny.
The guy
And they
in
updated
Photoshop went
Majin
crazy.
Vegetas too. And I don't know, like we thought that was going to be a trend, but now it's like, are they ever going to update an old animation? Probably not, right?
Why do that when they can re-release it, or they can release a new summonable unit and make money?
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm surprised they did it in the first place.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And
Give us our
Majin
fun
Vegeta's
with
12
Pokemon.
key looks good. That atomic
Oh, it
blast is
does.
really cool. Yeah.
It is cool, but they didn't treat the EZA that well. That's the unfortunate part.
I
All right,
love
well-
restricted passives like that. It's
Oh,
it's
for
a
sure.
novelty. It's the speech. It's so cool.
I'm still waiting for the so-called Bulma to release that we can actually run with them. I guess what
She's
the
coming.
Vegeta and Bulma free-to-play unit? Yeah,
Superhero
whoop-de-doo.
Trunks. or
People are
Superhero
so
Bulma
copium
banner
about
unit.
that. They're so they're like, oh, we're definitely gonna get a Bulma and he'll be top tier. No.
Yeah.
Vegeta
Well,
and
I'll
Bulma,
run
bro.
one of these Dragon Ball Saga Bulma. Sure, yeah, that's gonna work.
Mhm.
All right. Well, anything else, guys, before we wrap it up for the day? All right. Well, that is going to do it for our show today. This has been episode 99 of the Dokkan Battle podcast. I would like to thank our guests today, Vilify and Minato, and also Vilify for helping us out with all that behind the scenes stuff. My name is Joe Wags. It has been an honor hosting for you all today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you all next time. See ya.